So what should Le'Veon Bell do? And what should the Pittsburgh Steelers do? Now, I saw this breaking down one of three ways, I should say. The first way was Le'Veon Bell would report to camp, or the Steelers would fold and give him the contract that he wants, right? Clearly, that has come and gone. Then you have scenario number two, where he doesn't play for a portion of the season. The Steelers realize that, hey, we really need this guy here if we're going to try to make a Super Bowl run, because I do feel like the Steelers window could be closing. Big Ben is getting up there in age, so I think that it's possible that they might have a couple of more years to try to get a Super Bowl with this group of guys. Then scenario number three is that Le'Veon Bell just holds out the whole year and becomes a free agent next season. So scenario number one, of course, that already came by. It's over with. I felt like one of these sides would fold. One of these sides would be like, okay, let's just get a deal done. We want you here. We want you to be here. But clearly, I don't think that that's what the Steelers want. Le'Veon Bell in the past did have some off-the-field issues. He did have a couple of injury seasons, if you will. But at the end of the day, Le'Veon Bell is still, without a doubt, one of the best running backs in the league. We don't really have to talk about that at all. But I feel like his time in Pittsburgh, whether he plays this year or not, for the Steelers, is basically done. So then you have the second scenario. And the second scenario is where he doesn't play a portion of the season. The Steelers realize that, hey, we need this guy, so let's get him in here, right? And that scenario is, of course, basically the Emmitt Smith scenario. In 1992, the Cowboys, they win the Super Bowl. Emmitt Smith feels like he's being underpaid for what he has done. He's one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the league at that time. He, of course, I believe won league MVP and, of course, helped the Cowboys win their first Super Bowl since the 1970s. So he feels like he is worth a little bit more. Jerry Jones is like, nah, basically, we're not going to give you the contract that you desire. Emmitt Smith decides to hold out all the way up until basically week number 3 of the NFL season. Week number 1 and week number 2, the Cowboys lose. Charles Haley, it's reported that he threw his helmet at the wall, busted up the wall in Cowboys Stadium in the locker room, and the helmet almost hit Jerry Jones, right? That's the story that's out there. So clearly the guys wanted Emmitt Smith back, because Charles Haley said, we can't win without Emmitt Smith. And never did you hear Troy Aikman say, you know what, I think we can win with the backup. Never did you hear Michael Irvin say anything negative. It seemed like they were all supporting Emmitt Smith, but they had a job to do. They reported to camp. They were playing for the Cowboys at the time, so they wanted to do what they felt like they were supposed to do, and that's show up and play for the team. And of course, they lose the first 2 games of the season. Emmitt Smith comes back after Jerry Jones feels like Emmitt Smith has forced his hand, and he's like, I'll pay you whatever you want. And then, of course, the Cowboys make an incredible run, going all the way to the Super Bowl and winning it versus the Buffalo Bills for the 2nd time in a row. Do I see that happening here? I don't. Now, there are reports that maybe he should wait until week 11. I believe that that's the last deadline that they can get a deal done. I believe I could be wrong about that, but I don't see that happening at all. Because, again, I feel like the Steelers, at this point, they don't really want Le'Veon Bell. Yes, he's a fantastic talent, but they don't want everything that comes with that fantastic talent. So then you have scenario number 3, where he doesn't play at all. Now, as a fan, I hope that that is not the case. I want to see this guy play. And you can let me know how you feel as a fan. Should he hold out the whole season? Should he just report? I mean, how much money do you need? I believe some people will feel that way and stuff like that. For me, as a fan, I want him to play. I want to see this guy out there. He is one of the best running backs in the league that we've had in a while when it comes to catching passes out the backfield. The way that he runs is very unique. He's a very patient runner. I would love to see him out there, but again, I can see where he's coming from, because again, football is an unforgiving game and the NFL is an unforgiving league. So I do see him possibly holding out the whole season, and here's why. If he does report to camp without a new contract, or not camp, but reports to the Pittsburgh Steelers for the season without a new contract, and the Steelers have no intent on re-signing him in the offseason, I see them running him into the ground. I see them giving him the ball so much, not that he will break down this year, but when he signs to another team, he might not be as productive for as long as that team might want. We all know that around 30 years old, that's when running backs break down. I believe it's more so to do with how many carries they have. If a running back hits that 2,000 to 2,200 yards or 200 carries, throughout their career, that's when they break down, and it just so happens that they usually hit that mark around 30 years old. So that's one thing that I would caution Le'Veon Bell about. Is like, if they don't think that you're going to be around, they are just going to pound you into the ground. It's the same thing that the Cowboys did last year when Zeke was facing suspension. They didn't know how long they were going to have Zeke. So they're like, we better get as much out of him as we can. And it could be, well, he's the best player, let's try to get our best player the ball as much as possible. Or it could be, we are going to just run you into the ground for the sake of running you into the ground. And I think that's possibly what the Pittsburgh Steelers could do. I don't think that it's anything malicious. I just feel like that's the way that this could possibly play out. That Le'Veon Bell would just be grounding and pounding until, he can no longer ground and pound anymore. The Steelers and Big Ben have already said, or I should say Big Ben has already said, that James Conner can get the job done. So that's why I feel like scenario number 2 might not happen, because Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith, they weren't really on that tip, or we could win without Emmitt. But I feel like that's kind of the vibe here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I do see scenario number 3 playing out, because it will be beneficial for Le'Veon Bell to do that. I think it might be beneficial for the Pittsburgh Steelers just to let him walk. At this point, if you're not going to re-sign him, let the man do what he wants to do and play for whoever he wants to play. And missing a year for a running back could be a good thing. It could be a good thing, because Marcus Allen, who is probably the greatest running back in Raiders history, but Bo Jackson might have been more talented, but Marcus Allen, production-wise, definitely was the greatest running back in Raiders history. They drafted Bo Jackson, or signed Bo Jackson, and Marcus Allen was basically an afterthought. Marcus Allen hardly ever got the ball. He wasn't carrying the rock more than 100 times in a season when they got Bo Jackson, and that saved his legs. He was basically riding the bench for a good 3 years with the Oakland Raiders, and then he signs with the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's like nothing ever happened. He played running back until he was 37 years old, and he was still putting up productive years and productive numbers week in and week out, year in and year out. So again, I don't feel like it's that 30-year mark for running backs. I feel like it's that 2,000 carry, 200 or 2,200 carry mark for running backs. That's when they really start to slow down. But you guys can let me know what you think. I think that it could possibly still go 2 of those ways, where they sign him to a long-term deal because he holds out during the season. They said they need this guy because the window is closing and they got to try to win as many Super Bowls as they can now. Or it could be that, you know what, good riddance. You did what you could for us. We did what we could for you. Let's just part ways, and he doesn't play this whole season. I can see that playing out. I don't really think that they're going to trade him. They might trade him. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could. So you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I wish he was playing, though. That's how I feel, but I understand why he might sit out the whole season.